Hi, I'm Bethany from Wellness. Thank you for joining me today. We will do a 10-minute gentle yoga practice. The items you may wish to gather would be a towel or blanket, 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can gather 2 large books, and a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could gather a belt or a scarf. And let's begin. Find your towel or blanket and roll it up and set it on your mat and come to a seated pose on your mat. Sitting towards the front of that blanket so that your hips go a little bit forward as you sit. Cross-legged is an option here if that's comfortable, or butterfly pose, bringing the soles of your feet in front of you. You can widen the butterfly pose if that's not comfortable, drawing the feet a little farther away from your body. And let's begin. So finding your seat, shimmy a little bit side to side, finding those sits bones, and settle in here. Hands can rest down on your legs, maybe palms down, to just bring some calm and peace. Begin to take some breaths. I would encourage you to just gaze softly down to the ground. Taking breaths that begin at the belly. As you inhale through the nose, let the breath travel up towards your shoulders. Pause for a moment at the top of your inhale before you take your exhale. Now if your nose is stuffy, breathe through your mouth. Nice deep breaths connecting to your breathing pattern that is steady and calm, like an ocean wave type of pattern. In through your nose, pause for a moment, then exhale through your nose. Letting your breath anchor you into stillness. Let your shoulders release away from your ears. The shoulders sometimes creep up to those ears throughout the day. Couple more breaths. Good. The next inhale, draw the arms up, gaze up to fingers, reaching towards the ceiling. Let the shoulders release away from the ears, even though you're reaching. Then exhale, rotate palms back down by your sides. Let's do that again. Inhale, rise arms up, gaze up. Exhale, release arms down. Just bringing some openness through those shoulders. Again, inhale, rise up. Side bend to the right. Release the right hand down. Gently stretch the left torso. And the right shoulder should be away from the ear. Sometimes we hold it up. Just let it release. Gazing up towards the ceiling in your side bend. Inhale, both arms high. Exhale, side bend to the left. Gently stretch your right side. Inhale back to center, both arms high. Release the palms down. Take a gentle forward fold, hinging from your hips. So you should begin to fold from the hips and then feel a little length in your spine. So we're still staying lengthened through the spine. For a few breaths. Anytime we hold a pose, we want to maintain steady breath. Your breath is a cue. If your breath is shallow, that means it might be a little too intense. You might need to come up from the fold a little bit and not go so deep. And then exhale. Now you can soften and round. And slowly begin to walk those fingers back up, rise up, and then switch the crossing of your legs if you had your legs crossed. Always feels a little awkward at first. Invite that. Helps our body be balanced. Settling into your seat again, finding your breath first. And inhale, rise arms up, gaze up to fingers. Exhale, rotate palms back down. Again, inhale, rise up, gaze up. Exhale, release down. Last time, inhale, rise up. Side bend to the right, release the right hand down. Gently stretch your left side. Let your right shoulder release away from your ear. Again, inhale, rise to center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale back to center. Forward fold, release your palms down. Gently begin to hinge from your hips, keeping a nice flat back, a straight spine. Finding where you'd like to settle here. Each side is different, so if this doesn't feel as comfortable to go as deep, maybe walk those hands back up a little bit. Or maybe this side likes to go a little deeper. You can walk those hands farther away. Exhale, begin to soften into the pose. And slowly begin to rise back up. Good. Let's come out of that seated pose. Sometimes those legs feel a little stuck at first, so just come out nice and slow. Coming into tabletop, so on your hands and knees. If your knees are tender at all, you can place the blanket underneath your knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Knees are about 2 fist widths apart, so hip distance. Nice flat back as you begin. Gaze down. Inhale, soften the belly down, gaze up. Cow pose. Exhale, tuck and round into cat pose. Gaze back, round through the shoulders. Inhale, go through the cow pose, gazing up. Exhale, tuck and round. So waking up your spine, waking up the shoulders, neck, low back. And again, inhale, cow. Exhale, tuck and round. And back into table. Then exhale, child's pose. Sink hips to heels. You can widen your knees if you would like, or keep them together. And then slowly walk your hands down and rest your forehead towards the mat. If you need to rest your forehead on a block, that would be okay if that feels better to you. Or if you can rest all the way down onto the mat, that's fine too. And connect with your breath here. And inhale, slowly rise back up, coming back into your table. From here, bring the right foot in front of you and stretch out the right leg. Here's where the blocks are really handy. I like to take a block and place it on each side of my right leg. And then I have something to rest my hands on here. Right toes are up towards the ceiling. And then you'll notice this right hip, draw it back a little bit. Sometimes it peeks forward, so just draw it back. Big stretch through the hamstrings. Hamstrings get very tight, especially if you do any amount of sitting, whether it's at a desk or in a car or watching TV. So let the hamstrings get a nice open stretch. Sometimes there's a tendency to flex the quad. You'll know you're doing that if the kneecap is drawing up. See if you can let that relax. Let those quads release. Couple more breaths. How is your breath now? So just notice that breath. If it's very shallow, this might be too intense. You might need to come up a little bit and bring hands to hips for a little more gentle stretch. And then from here, point the toes just a little bit. You'll notice a nice stretch through the front of your ankle and your shin. Sometimes we find tight spots we didn't know were there. Good. And then slowly bring that right leg back, coming into table. Let's go through more cow-cat breaths. Inhale, belly softens down, gaze up. Exhale, tuck and round, gaze back. One more of each. Inhale for cow, let your breath be linked with your movement. Exhale, tuck and round, cat pose. Come back to table, and then stretch the left leg in front of you. Half splits. Bring the blocks if you'd like, or books. Straighten that left leg, bring the left toes up. Remember to dial the left hip back a little bit. That stretch will get a little more intense. Now if your wrists get tired, sometimes they're bent a lot here. You can always just bring them to fists or tripod fingers. So keep those wrists a little more straight. Steady breath, always connecting with breath in every pose. Where your breath goes, your mind goes. And then point the toes, just bring those toes down a little bit to see if the front of the shin or ankle has any tight spots. Good, then slowly release back into table. And then sink hips back for child's pose. Sink hips to heels, bring that forehead to rest. Couple breaths here. And rise up into table. And slowly sit back with your legs stretched out. Shimming a little bit side to side, find your sits bones. Then bring the right leg and hug it in as you bring the right foot outside of your left thigh. Hugging the right leg in, staying lifted, so we're not just slouching into it. We're staying nice and lengthened. And as you hug that leg in, you'll feel a little stretch through the right glute. You're welcome to bring the right arm up and take a gentle twist if you'd like with that right arm back behind you. Only if that's comfortable. Couple more breaths. If you had a twist, bring the right arm high first, then come back to center and switch. Stretch the right leg out. This time the left leg is hugged in. The left foot connects outside of your right thigh. Hugging it in first, staying nice and lengthened. If you want to stay here, that's perfectly fine. If you'd like to twist, bring the left arm up. Take a gentle twist to the left. One more breath. And inhale, left arm high if you had the twist, and come back into center. And let's find butterfly pose. Connect the soles of your feet in front of you. Shimmy a little bit side to side. Option with blocks here. If you'd like, you can place them underneath your thighs for your butterfly pose. It just brings a little more support. You can scooch those feet in a little bit, or you can bring them farther away. Farther away is more gentle. I like to give my feet a little attention here in butterfly pose. So if you have the access to give yourself a little massage on your feet, go ahead and do so. Give thanks to your feet for all the work they do all day long. Why does it always feel better than when someone else massages your feet? Very good. Thank you very much. That concludes our gentle yoga for today. If you have a few extra minutes, I would encourage you to connect to some stillness just for maybe 2 more minutes. Otherwise, if you'd like to be done for the day, I thank you for joining me. We'll end with namaste.